Hey, listen, sellers are gonna ask you a lot of questions, and I want you to be prepared for them. You got it? For example, one of the questions they're gonna give you is this. Hey, Mr. or Mrs. Agent, what's my house worth? What a question. What the hell is my house worth? And you ran your CMA report, your comparative market analysis. You ran comparables, man. You have access to data. Based on that data, you came up with a number, with a price. And I want you to show that price to your sellers. How did I determine the value of your home, Mr. and Mrs. Seller? What a great question. Let me show you this. And you're gonna hand them, boom, right here, a CMA report. Because that's gonna be your bread and butter. That's gonna be your proof, your validity that yes, this is not just my opinion, these are the stats in your area. And those stats are crucial. You got it? Now, sure, they may have upgrades, and you're gonna take a look around. You can say, wow, this place looks great. I'm digging the pool in the backyard. I'm digging all these upgrades. Wow, stainless steel appliances. Yeah, that gives value. But based on the data, it's worth this. Boom, and you hand it to them. Now listen, let's get something clear here. Most sellers are gonna believe that their house is the best one on the block. Hell, in the whole damn neighborhood. They're gonna think their house is worth $10 million when based on the data that you just ran, it's worth, I don't know, maybe $1 million. They might say, well, the house down the street sold for $2 million. Why can't I get $2 million for my house? It's also based on the size of the house, the living square footage of the house. You got it? That's crucial for them to understand, and it's your job to educate them. It's your job to bring this back to reality. So when they say, hey, what's my house worth? Well, hey, listen, based on the data, bada bing, bada boom, it's worth this. Another popular question, here it comes. Oh, the ever so popular question. Hey, how much are you gonna charge me? I know you work on commission, give me a break, what are you gonna charge me? Now, what are you gonna tell them? You have to be proud of your work. Don't discount yourself. So, what am I gonna charge you? Now, because the market is rocking and rolling right now, the typical 6% total of commission has been brought down to 5%. I don't get the whole 5%. I have to be strategic with that 5%. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give half of it to a buyer's agent who brings me a buyer. So I only get half of it. I'm gonna give away half of my 5% so that we can holistically capture as many buyers as we can. And the way I'm gonna capture buyers is by directing this 2.5% commission, half of what I'm charging you, to buyer's agents. Yo, buyer's agents, how are you out there? Hey, listen, bring me a buyer. Come check out my house. And if we close a deal, I'll give you half of my commission, 2.5%. How you like them apples? So what am I gonna charge you? 5%. Not because I just pulled it out of my you-know-what, but because it's a typical fee in the real estate world today. Anything less than that is discount. And when it comes to discount, you get what you pay for. Anytime you deal with any kind of discount, you get what you pay for. Be proud of your work. Another common question, ooh, I like this question. How long will it take to sell my property? Well, hell, that's a hell of a loaded question. If I just had a crystal ball, I'll tell you it's gonna sell tomorrow, or next week, or next month, or 3 months from now. But in reality, what controls the pace of the sale of a house, listen to me clearly, one of two things, supply and demand. I'm sure you've heard of that before, supply and demand. If there's a lot of something, it's gonna take a while. But if it's priced right, it's gonna sell pretty quick. You got it? So this is what I like to do. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, how fast is this house gonna sell? It's all gonna be based on your motivation to sell this sucker. And your motivation to sell this sucker is gonna be based on what you price it at. I give them a recommendation of high within the range, of medium within the range, and of low within the range. How fast do you want to get out of here? That's the question I revert back to the seller. Now, if they say, hey, I want to get out of here tomorrow, but they're going to price it low in the range. Got it? Hey, we're no rush, Rico, we're no rush. Well, then you could price it higher in the range. But it's all based on where you price it. That price point is crucial. So when they say, hey, how fast can we sell this house? Well, hell, what are we pricing it at? Huh? How about giving them that question? You're not being a smart ass. You want the whole feel, their whole strategic plan. Where are you planning on going after this? How fast do you have to be there? You're not in a rush? Well, then we'll price it accordingly. You are in a rush? Then we'll price it accordingly. You got it? Another spectacular question I get from sellers all the time. What are you gonna do as far as advertising? How are you gonna tell the whole world about it? Well, that's pretty simple. Luckily, as realtors, as real estate agents, if you are a member of the MLS, that's the first thing you're gonna do is place it on the MLS. So you're gonna tell your seller, first thing I'm gonna do is put this sucker on the MLS, but hold on a minute, pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. I'm not just gonna slap the address on the MLS. I'm not just gonna slap a picture of the front of the house on the MLS. You gotta go all out. What you're gonna do is this. How am I gonna advertise it? I'm gonna place it on the MLS. Now, I'm not just gonna place it on the MLS. I'm gonna place it on the MLS with the most productive approach. On that MLS, I'm going to provide tons of beautiful pictures taken by a professional photographer. Ready? Keyword here, professional. Don't let your phone do all the work. Your phone can only do so much. In addition, what I want you to do is get yourself a videographer. Have a 3D tour of the home. Are you kidding me? That's beautiful. And place that link on the MLS. That gives the other real estate agents who represent buyers and buyers themselves who have access to the MLS to a tour of the house without leaving their home. Are you kidding me? That's a beautiful, beautiful benefit. So what's going on the MLS? How about a nice description of the property? Words. The verbiage is important. If grammar isn't your strong point, you don't write it. Find somebody who's professional to write it for you. Another way you can advertise it, aside from the MLS, you're gonna put it on other real estate websites. There's tons out there. Slap them on all those. Your social media. Hey, listen, if you're big in the real estate business or your brokerage is popular in the real estate business, their brand is huge. That's another good thing. Their brand is huge. Slap it on all of those real estate sites. You kidding? Tell me you're gonna have a YouTube channel that's gonna, I don't know, represent their property. And you're gonna give a nice walking tour of the property, of yourself, talking about the property, pointing out the specifics. Hey, look at that beautiful fireplace over there. Hey, look at that beautiful pool over there. Look at these vaulted ceilings, double pane windows. Are you kidding me? Wow. Any social media with you in there, with that listing, bada bing, bada boom, it's gonna make wonders, do wonders. Another way you can advertise it, you're gonna door knock the damn area. Send out flyers in that area. Tell the whole world about it. Where? Yeah, in that local area. That's the advertising you have to do from top to bottom. Now, the last question, I want you to really think about this one. Why should I select you as my agent? Because that question isn't factual. It isn't black and white. And the only person that can answer this is you. There's no data around this. It's why you. What are you gonna bring to the table as an agent that's gonna benefit me? Listen, these sellers aren't selling a car. They can do that themselves with Craigslist. They're selling the biggest investment of their life, and they have to pick the right person to represent them. So the question is, why you? Why should I select you? Now, I can't give you that answer, only you can. Do you have the desire to close the deal? To take all these obstacles, all these other different aspects of a real estate transaction, of contracts, of disclosures? Are you willing to learn all that and piece it all together? Are you willing to negotiate on their behalf to what's good for them, not what's good for you? These are questions you have to answer. So the question goes back to, why you? Again, only you can answer that question. So I want you to turn the tables and I want you to ask the sellers one question. Ooh, that's interesting. I want you as the agent to ask the sellers one question. And that question is this. Mr. and Mrs. Sellers, pleasure to meet you today, but I have one question for you, and the question is, are you willing to make this house turnkey? Are you willing to prepare this house for sale? And they're gonna look at you and they're gonna say, what the hell are you talking about? Well, this is my recommendation, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. I've previewed this property. I've moseyed through it, and I appreciate you allowing me to do so. But my job is to get you as much money, as many people in here as possible. My job is to make sure that when people come into this property, they enjoy their visit. Are you willing to take my advice and make a few adjustments to the interior of this property and possibly the exterior of this property? And they're gonna say, well, like what? And you're gonna say, well, the interior needs to be painted. You're a smoker, and these walls are horribly, horribly dark and dirty. Let's make it bright, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. My recommendation is paint it white. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you have great pets. I love your dog, he's cute. But it smells like pets in here. It smells of dogs, it smells of cats. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, my recommendation is make this place smell fantastic. Give it a great scent. How? I don't know, shampoo the carpets. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this place is cluttered. Look at the kitchen. I don't see any counters because you got so much stuff on the counters. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, my recommendation is declutter. Declutter this kitchen. This is gonna be a team effort between the agent and the sellers. But the sellers have to put in their part. They have to be in it for the distance. They're both gonna help each other out. What does that mean? The seller has to make sure the house is ready to sell by improving the property. Make it appealing so when a buyer goes in there, it looks great. You want the buyer to say, wow, this is a fantastic house. So at the end of the day, the sellers have some work to do. It's not just all agent, sellers have to get involved. Hey, listen, I mentioned CMAs before, comparative market analysis. Want to know more about it? Check out this video right here. You're going to get tons out of it. We'll see you next week.